Hello there, thanks for joining us today. Today I'm speaking to a colleague, Jacques Krog, who's Czech manager for Referline. Morning, Jacques.
Morning, Matt. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Jacques, could you just take us through your bio, please?
Yes, Matt. I currently am the Group Safety, Health, Environmental Manager for a company called Referline Group of Companies in South Africa. Our head office is based in South Africa, but we've got offices and factories in many countries in the world, including Asia. We do projects in mostly Africa, but also in Israel and different countries. My job at the moment is head of health, safety, environmental, and quality for the whole group. I started in this career about 25 years ago. Basically, it started, I've always had a fascination with the field of health and medicine. I started a career as a paramedic many years ago, and when I then left that field, I worked as an inspector in a laboratory testing product. And it was during those times that we had a lot of accidents in the company, and I had to run out and obviously fix cut fingers and those sort of things, and decided, well, the only way to really stop the cut fingers was to get involved in health and safety. And then just got pushed into it literally, but I've always had a fondness for health, always been fascinated by it, and so it wasn't a difficult transition or field to get into. So I got involved that way, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since. I love it. It's one of those fields where I think you make a big difference in society and in the company you work with and the people around you in general. Obviously have done many different courses. A couple of years ago, came across NEBOSH and decided to try that out, and finished the International Diploma in Occupational Health and Safety, as well as the National Diploma in Environmental Management. I think this is one of those fields where you constantly have to grow your skills. So always looking out for different courses and different ways to improve my skills and my skill set itself.
Yeah, well, I know when we were talking recently, we should probably mention that we're in the middle of the COVID crisis. And you were really quick out of the blocks in looking to see how COVID would affect Referline, and you said you had to look at all new things that you hadn't even considered before, like cleaning schedules and all those kind of things. But now you've positioned yourself so your company is now giving consultancy to other companies about how to deal with social distancing and those sorts of things. Is that have I covered that correctly?
Yeah, I think that what COVID-19 has done is it's put health and safety professionals in the forefront of helping to fight in the workplace the effects or the prevention of COVID-19. We started in early January. We saw what was coming. We started preparing for it very early. In South Africa, we went into a hard lockdown for about 6 weeks. We were lucky that we could work in that lockdown, in that we had an essential services certificate. So we've been preparing for the opening up or the ending of the lockdown, which we're now in a level 4. So we could again start in full to get the business going. But yeah, we try to anticipate. We try to put a lot of measures in place. We put a return to work plan, a vigorous training schedule. We had to look at cleaning. We had to look at things that you sometimes never think about and you take for granted in the workplace. So we had to look at all of that. And then, yes, we realized that we had something we could offer. My theory around it was that it doesn't help you sort your own company out, but the rest of society is battling. We rely on customers and suppliers, as do any business. And you need to go and look and say, well, how can we help our customers? How can we help our suppliers? How can we help other companies out there who are maybe struggling to come to grips with this, and how to manage the workplace to continue in a continuous basis and still prevent people from getting sick. So we have we have been helping. We have been consulting some small businesses to get them up and going and help get emergency plans and return to work policies and even PPE strategies in place to help manage this. So yeah, our company has taken an approach where we've got the skills, we've got the people. So how else can we contribute to society and keep our company going, but also add value? That's been our thought around it.
We seem to have a few IT issues here where Jacques' camera seems to be freezing, but what you're saying is coming over loud and clear. When we last spoke, you mentioned about the societal obligations of Referline. That's how your company thinks. And one of the reasons why we're doing these videos is so people who are considering a career in health and safety, or actually already established in health and safety, how other people are responding, what their thoughts are on a career in health and safety. So you said about the difference between a career and a job. I think you were talking to your daughter. Was that right?
Yeah, I think my daughter finished school about a year and a half ago, and she came to me, and I think the world is a different place in terms of what do you do what do you do when you finish school? And I said to her two things: do you want a job or do you want a career? And I said to her, the difference is that a job is something where you wake up in the morning, you go, you get paid a wage or a salary, and you come home, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make a difference to society, you need to think about a career where you contribute to building a society or adding value to a society and to people in general. And I think that is where the world has moved, funny enough, with this COVID crisis, is that the world needs people that can have a career and make a fundamental difference to the way society operates, whether it's through health and safety or through environmental management. And she decided then to take the environmental route, busy on the NEBOSH journey herself. Again, I think that for me, this whole profession is about passion. And that's where I think a career comes in. Is if you're not passionate about doing this, it becomes a job, really. You need to be passionate. You need to know that you're making a difference to society. And I think what we've found now with the COVID crisis is if you really put everything into it and put the passion into it, people will see that, and they'll automatically become not so fearful to come back to work, because they can see that somebody has gone and thought about my safety or my health in the workplace and how do I return to work. So yes, I think there's a big difference between a job and a career. And I think if people, it's the first thing I always tell people when they want to get into this profession is, why do you want to get into this profession? Is it because you think it's a quick gain, or is it because you want to make a difference? And I think that's the question you need to ask yourself is, why do you want to get into this career? If you can answer that, the rest comes fairly easy.
If you were talking to somebody then, Jacques, about a career in health and safety, well, or she, or quality, as you've also got in your role, what would you say the job of a practitioner is? Is it policing? Is it coaching? How would you describe the role of a health and safety practitioner?
I think the early days was very much a police role. Many years ago, where you had an inspector or a health and safety officer that would act as a policeman with a stick, and if you broke the rules, they would come there and they would throw you with a book and say to you, well, the law says this, the law says that. I think the role has changed a lot in the last couple of years in terms of a mentoring role and adding value to the company as a whole. You cannot just look at health and safety anymore in a company. You need to look at a company holistically. You need to understand the functions and the machinery and how the company operates holistically. You need to know the finance. You need to understand the people. You need to understand the culture of the company. If you can get that, then I think the whole health and safety, environmental quality role gets woven into the fabric of the company. And I think that's quite important. We sit together with senior management on a lot of the decisions. I think it's a lot easier then to to talk about health and safety because you're there. You're part of the decision making. So yeah, I think the policing role sometimes may be required in some aspects, but for me, it's more of a mentoring and a coaching role.
Yeah. Well, something that's come out loud and clear from that is how important people are in achieving your aims. Yes. as a head of SHEC. From having a look on your LinkedIn profile, one of the recommendations that you have on there describes you as a social butterfly. And I wondered how important you feel networking is in improving your own professional competency.
I think that this field is all about people. And if you cannot speak to people, you're going to have a problem. You need to be able to connect with people in various levels and roles. You need to be able to speak to every level. You need to be able to speak to the CEO as well as to the guy that cuts the bricks. And that's the reality. You need to be approachable. So yeah, I spend a lot of my time talking to people, and sometimes it's not even work related. It's about how you're feeling, how's things at home. One of the things I always tell people is that health and safety is a difficult field because you need to be able to be a psychologist in a way. You need to be able to be a counselor in a way. And you need to be able to listen to people, because it's in that counseling and that listening that you will maybe sometimes find something that can help you improve, the status of health in the company or make a big difference. So yeah, I spend a lot of time talking to people throughout the company, and you get a lot of information about culture and how things work and a lot of ideas. So yes, I think that's quite important. You cannot sit in an office the whole day and think that you are managing health and safety or any system from that point of view. It's all about talking to people. It's an art sometimes. I tell a lot of my health and safety officers that, sometimes you're going to knock on the door and nobody's going to open the door. And you're going to carry on knocking, and you're going to knock till your knuckles bleed, and it's not going to open. And that just means that you're going to have to find another way and maybe go through the window. Think around about that way is you sometimes have to play political games, understand policy, understand politics in a company. It's all very important. I think it's part of a culture, understanding company culture.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, actually, Jacques. I think if you do not like people and engaging with people, then health and safety and environmental management is not the career for you. Everything you've just said absolutely resonates with me. It's one of the joys of the job, actually, is that you get to engage with everybody across the workplace and supply chain as well, actually.
Yes.
So I'm mindful of time, Jacques. I can only imagine how busy you are at the moment with everything you've got on. So if we can just finish off really on your top tips for aspiring safety practitioners.
I think a couple of the top tips that I've learned through my career is, number one, we've discussed, have a passion for the job. That's very critical. What we always say is we can teach you anything, but if you don't have a passion for it, I can't teach you passion. I can teach you, there's many different courses. We can, again, passion is for me everything. The second thing is constant learning. I always say that a health and safety practitioner must know a bit about engineering, medicine, health, politics, management, finance, human resources. So it's constant learning. And I think the other thing is celebrate your successes. I think for far too long, a lot of the health and safety profession has been seen as, not a necessary to have, but it has to be there because the client wants it. And I think what's happened, especially with something like COVID-19, is you've started seeing the critical role these people play. And I think celebrate your successes. It's very critical because, again, it's important for you to see where you came from and where you're going. So I think those are the real tips I see.
Thank you for those, Jacques. I think we should probably draw a line there and let you get back onto doing the day job, I guess. Thank you for being such a great advocate for NEBOSH qualifications. I wish your daughter all the luck on her environmental diploma studies. Thank you ever so much for taking time to talk to me today.
Thanks, Matt. Keep well and send regards to all the people at NEBOSH.
You take care.
You too, man. Keep well.